All right, guys, I'm Blockchain Crusader, crusading through these blockchains every single day, and we are back for another live stream today on December 10th, Wednesday, FOMC meeting day. But before the FOMC meeting actually kicks off, guys, we got to be discussing some critical levels here for Bitcoin and altcoins alike. Make sure you guys are smashing those likes, hitting that subscribe. Night, aka midnight, from Cardano up 65% today. It was down over 59% yesterday and has had a nice rally today, up 65%. The question is this rally going to last, or is this just a pre-game FOMO before more dumps happen with the larger airdrops overall? Guys, we're going to be covering a lot of different questions here, so make sure you guys are smashing those likes. Let's jump right into it. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin overall yesterday, we had a major rally, major rally, massive pump to the upside. We hit 94,200. We hit 94,500. We actually got rejected off the 94,200 area. That is where I took a short with my private trading group, the Crypto Citadel. We entered the short there and we closed around 92,300. Nice win, over 57% win on that trade. So fantastic win overall for the Crypto Citadel on that short. Now, Bitcoin has dropped into the previous day range. We do have targets to the downside around. We have a gold pocket at 91,200 and we have a daily NPOC down at 90,400. We don't have a lot of volume below 92,000. Very small amounts of volume. We had a significant little bounce today off the London low and weekly VWAP, which was swept multiple times before we actually had a significant pump back up to 92,006. And now we're starting to fight some resistance once again, potentially pulling back, getting rejected off these daily anchored VWAPs around 92.3 to 92.2. If we lose the London low for Bitcoin at 91,745 the gold pocket of 91,200 is the first target before running it down to 90,400. And like I said, it's the FOMC meeting today, so we don't really know what to expect, but you can definitely expect volatility. Guys, everybody watching right now, why are you guys now filling up those like meters? Start tapping those likes, start filling up those likes. I greatly appreciate it. Definitely keeps the show up and running. XRP going to 240. We're going to cover XRP in just a second, brother. Greatly appreciate it. When is the rate cut? The announcement is at 2 o'clock. Jerome Powell should start speaking around 2:30, but by 2 o'clock, you will get the headlines of what they decided to do. And then Jerome Powell speaks around 2:30, giving his thoughts on what is happening and what is to come into the future. And the market really bases a lot of based on what he's talking about. Oh, we got a nice little fake Crusader here in the chat. Make sure everybody blocks him because he is not real. So overall, Bitcoin needs to get above 93,300, which is the yearly open. It is also currently our value area low for the previous day range. So very critical level to get above if we're going to continue rallying in December, right? If we're going to continue pushing up higher, we need to get above 93,300. If we do not, we're not going to continue pumping. We're not going to continue moving up. We're going to start moving down lower. Do you think we will pump today after the news? We're pumping right now in anticipation of the news and of this London low sweep that we got earlier today during the New York session during our first 4-hour candle, right? If we look out here on the 4-hour, very nice sweep here of the current lows, and that's a nice little reversal to the upside. Now the question becomes, is this reversal going to be sustainable? Right, that is only going to be answered if we can actually get above 93,000. We can actually sustain a rally and move up higher. Yesterday we tried. We had a little breakout, but we swept the previous week high, which is technically not good at all. Right, the fact that we swept this previous week high up at 94,000, and now we have dropped lower. We made a lower high during the London session at 93,000. 260, and now we're currently building another lower high around 92,600, right? Could be leading us to a potential drop down towards that 90,400 and lower. So definitely am more leaning in the side that we're going to drop instead of pump. But you know, when the news breaks, we can have quick volatility, a quick little pump to the upside. That's really what I'm waiting for. A quick little pump to the upside around 92.7 to look for that next big short opportunity to send it right back down. Let's see here. Let's move on over to Ethereum. Let's see, how's Ethereum doing today? How is Ethereum doing today? Ethereum chopping it up sideways. Very drastic move yesterday. Very big move to the upside. We are currently still above the value area high of the previous day range of yesterday from 3,300. If we begin to lose that area and start going below 3,300, our first big target range is going to be between 32.66 to 32.51. If that area is lost, our next big target to the downside would be 3106, erasing all the gains from yesterday, right? Because we have a very wide previous day range with very low volume since it was just a massive spike to the upside. So we got to be very careful here with Ethereum. If Bitcoin starts pulling back, Ethereum can quickly Bart Simpson and just drop it down to 3,100. Guys, make sure you guys are filling up those like meters. There's over 40 of you guys watching right now. Make sure you guys are filling up those like meters. We only got 50 likes, guys. Come on, tap those screens for the next 3 seconds. Tap those screens, and let's get us to 1,000 likes real quick. Now, over to XRP. Let's go take a look at good old XRP. It's in the game. It's actually not in the game. But looking at XRP here on the daily chart, right? On the daily, we don't have much going on for XRP. We are in a downtrend from the previous trading session. We're just been in a massive downtrend. We're just hovering around this node of volume here from the previous day range, around its NPO, around its point of control of 206. We are within the overall big support zone between 206 to 198 for XRP. But for a day trade, if we begin to lose the London low, I am looking for a sweep of the weekly open and previous day low around 203. If we sweep this area, I would be interested in taking a long, maybe even taking it as a swing trade to the upside for XRP to push towards that 210, 213 area. But we got to see if we can get that sweep today during a potential pullback during the FOMC meeting. But in the meantime, there's no good setup here on the day 15-minute chart for XRP to take a trade. Now, if we zoom out to the daily, we go look at the daily chart for XRP, the more macro time frame for XRP. Let me get rid of these levels here. XRP is in a decent buy zone, right? It's going to be one of those things where either we continue to hold this support of between 208 to 197. We continue to hold this as we have been holding it all throughout 2025 and December of 2024. Either we hold it or we're going to start nuking down to 177, down potentially to 113 as we enter 2026, if 2026 is going to be bearish for XRP, including obviously being led by a major Bitcoin pullback. Now, if that's not the case, if Bitcoin is not going to have a major pullback, thank you for the roses, thank you for the gifts, thank you. If that's not going to be the case for Bitcoin, if Bitcoin is going to have a bullish Q1 of 2026, then XRP being at this support level here does set it up for some nice move to the upside of 281. That is his local gold pocket to the upside. Once we start getting above 280, we start to break a little bit of the market structure of this downtrend, and we have our next big local target of 366 to the upside. As you can see here, we have been building out this yearly range. Let me see, all the way to November 30th. this yearly range that we're currently in. We have an NPLC that's developing up at 241 as well as another target on our way up before hitting 280 for XRP here. Holding this yearly range is very critical. If we lose the yearly range, start dropping below $2, targets are 177 down to 113 for XRP. Let's keep an eye here on Bitcoin. Is the crypto bull run over? Fantastic question. Now, the reality is, let's start zooming out here a little bit. Let's go take a look at a Bitcoin chart from a larger time span. So let's go look at overall Bitcoin here, right, has had a very significant pullback. As you guys can see, these pullbacks, right, from this top, where is it? Here we go. From the top of March 2024, around 73,000, we pulled all the way back to, come on, almost at it, boom, down to the bottom of 49,000. I was a 33.57% drop. Then the next top came around the January of 2025, a 109. We dropped all the way down to 74,000, a 31% drop. Currently, from the top of 126 to the current bottom that we made of 80,500, it is a 36% drop. So we have been experiencing these 30% pullbacks throughout 2024, 2025, and have made rallies and recovered and gone up much higher afterwards, right? So if we now measure the movements to the upside after dropping to this, come on, let's get it, to this very top over here, we rallied 100 from the bottom of 49,000 in August of 2024 that we hit 48,000. We rallied all the way up to 109 over a time span of about 6 months. We rallied 122%. Now, if we do the same thing here from this bottom of April of 2025, oops, no, did not mean to do that. From April of 2025, the bottom of 76,000, 75,000, whatever it was, 74, to the high of August, we rallied 69%. So smaller rally to the upside, but overall still made multiple new all-time highs. Now, there is a scenario where if this was the bottom at 80,000 and we start recovering, there is a possibility for a 50% move oh man, hold on. Didn't get the actual bottom. Come on. A 50% move, or actually more like a 60% move. It's greater than 50%. So somewhere around 70% move to the upside, that we can actually hit about 130-ish, 136 for Bitcoin in Q1 of 2026. Now, I can't divulge all the reasons why this potential move could be happening. This is something that we're talking about exclusively in the Crypto Citadel. So if you want to understand why this potential move and setup is possible, definitely join the Crypto Citadel if you haven't already. So do so if you must. But a 70% move, or 60% to 70% move, will put us above an all-time high in Q1 of 2026, which is possible because we've had multiple 30+% retracements, holding and then continuing to push up higher, still making higher lows, which allows us to push for higher highs on the way up. So technically, you could say, right, the reality of whether we're in a bull market or bear market is going to become apparent in 2026 in Q1. Once we start pushing back towards 100, between 98 to realistically 110. That range might be a bit wide for you guys, but that is the big range that's going to tell us whether, if we get rejected between 98 to 110 and start closing monthlies and weeklies below 98,000, then bear market, we're probably going to have a 50% retracement to the downside, sending us down to like the mid 60s, $60,000 price point for Bitcoin. Now, if we can start closing weeklies and monthlies above 100K, right, 100 to 110K, and start holding that level, we have a very, very good chance that we can run 60+% towards 136,000 in Q1 of 2026. Appreciate all of you guys smashing those likes, hitting that subscribe. If you guys are getting any DMs from anyone that looks like me or sounds like me or is using my profile or my name, it is not me, guys. I do not DM anyone first. You can DM me and I will reply to you, but I will never DM you first. So make sure you guys are very aware. If anybody's DMing you pretending to be me, it is a scam, guys. It is a scam. And by the way, if you guys have not joined the Crypto Citadel, I am hosting a free 1-hour trading boot camp on Sunday. This Sunday at 11 p.m. Eastern time, I'm going to be hosting one inside the Crypto Citadel in the Discord. So if you guys want to, you can join for free right now to get access to the Crypto Citadel so that you can get access to this free webinar where we're going to be covering trading basics 101s to get you guys a fundamental understanding of how to start charting so that then you can start evolving into actually taking trades. So we're going to be covering some very new trader friendly tactics and indicators that we use so that you can start doing this on your own and start becoming reliant on your own analysis so that you guys can better understand when resistance is happening, when is support happening, when is it actually a good time to potentially dollar cost average and not just be buying every single dip or be buying into every single rally like we're going to hit a new all-time high. So those are some things that we're going to be covering. We're going to be covering a lot of, setups and indicators and how to use them properly to tell you direction of the market, tell you potential targets to be looking for. All of that is going to be covered for free this Sunday in the Crypto Citadel trading boot camp. So make sure you join for free right now. And if you want to remain having access to my trading course, all my trade signals, and everything else that we're doing in the Crypto Citadel, then you will have to become obviously a member. But at least for a free little trial, you can get in for free now until Sunday to get in that boot camp. Appreciate all of you guys. What about news? Yes, 11 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. We're going to be hosting it. If the time changes, I'll let everybody inside the Crypto Citadel know if the time changes, but it is going to happen on Sunday, right? It is going to happen on Sunday. Appreciate everybody smashing those likes, hitting that subscribe. For everybody asking, the link is in the profile. Go to the profile, go to the link. You'll get access to it there. You actually, do I have access to it here? Yes. Here's the link tree. You're going to see free trading 101 webinar. Go on in, hit the join button. 14 people are already signed up and ready to roll. There is limited capacity, so make sure you guys are RSVPing as quickly as possible for the webinar on Sunday. Bitcoin still trying to make a little push to the upside here. Appreciate everybody smashing those likes. What do you think will happen after news? Can we see a red after news? Yeah, we can there's more likelihood that we see a pullback after the news than an actual pump, right? And it's very simple. Here's why. We swept the previous week high of 94,000, got rejected, already dropped down to 92,000. We pumped back up to 93.2, made a lower high, got rejected, dropped lower again, made another lower high during the New York session around 91,500. We swept the low, right, of the London low, 91,700, which is giving us a little push to the upside. But unless we can break above 93,000 to 93,300, we are going to continue making these lower highs, and that is most likely going to be the push to the downside. We have a daily NPOC down on 90,400, which will erase all the gains from yesterday. We have very low volume below 91,700, and this sweep of the previous week high is very, very strong. So unless we can invalidate this sweep, usually when you sweep a previous week high, you can rotate it all the way down to the previous week low. And the previous week low, my friends, is all the way down at 83,700. So that could be where we're headed overall. Not saying that we are right now. We're still above the EQ of 88.9. So there's still a long way before going to the previous week low. But a previous week high sweep is usually a very strong reversal for the rest of the week to the downside. So I am expecting and I am looking for a potential short position up here between 93,000 to 93,300. Appreciate everybody here smashing those likes. What's going on, Chuleta? Can you go over SHX Stronghold? Let's go take a look at Stronghold. Is it really as strong as people think? Not a lot of data here on Kraken. MXC should have a lot more data. Yeah, there we go. All right, let me update this chart here. Gold pocket. From the highs to the lows. What is this? Q3. The end of September. We are falling out of that. Let's get the range. Why what? I don't understand what that question means. You're just saying why. Please be more specific about what you're asking there. Quarterly. Bam. Building out the chart for SHX right now as we speak. We definitely have some nice targets to the upside here, but definitely some things we need to discuss as well. Let's get the previous 2-month range, and then we'll be ready to discuss. All right, so SHX right now, right? Its previous 2-month range, we're currently right at the value area low of it, sitting at 0.0096. We do have a 2-month NPOC up at 0.013, which is a nice push to the upside, getting us back above that 1 penny. But unfortunately, we are below the quarterly VWAP and the yearly VWAP, which is very, very bearish. Now, this will be resetting at the end of this month as we're going to be getting a new year and a new quarter. Lots of new data is going to be coming out as we enter 2026. So make sure you guys are tuned in to the Crypto Citadel to be getting all that new data, all those new charts that are coming out. Now, SHX is in a very tight spot here. We have fallen below the previous quarter range, the previous quarter uptrend. We have lost all of it. We lost the yearly VWAP. So we need to get above 0.013 to even have a chance of pushing up higher. Right now, if we can get back into the previous quarter range, putting us above 0.016, we do have targets between 2 cents to basically 2.5 cents for a gold pocket for SHX, but that is not going to be a possibility unless we can get back above 1.5 cents. Getting us back above 1.5 cents puts us into that quarterly range, which gives us the opportunity to hit those targets between 2 to 2.5 cents. If not, SHX here is continuing to pull back. If we begin to lose this previous 6-month range, our next big target is going to be down at 0.0075. Let's jump back here into the chat. John Frost, what's going on? Imagine asking the person, flip a coin, if it's head or tail. Yeah, something like that. Sir, can I ask, I short Bitcoin at 91,900. Can I hold or close? If you short Bitcoin at 91.9, we're currently at 92.4. So you're already in the negative on this short. You're already in the negative on this short. You shorted at 91.9. Yeah, man. Don't know how much leverage you're using, but you should probably be in a pretty decent loss at this point in time. If you're still in that trade, you should have been using a tighter stop loss, unless you're trading spot, which you're not, because unless you're trading like a 2x spot, right, to mimic a 2x leverage to mimic kind of spot shorting, very low leverage stuff. But if not, you should have been using a tighter stop loss to invalidate this move, because we swept the London low, which was the signal to go long. We are printing a pretty significantly three 1-hour candles to the upside. Yeah, there's definitely resistance here around 92,400. And there is the possibility that we might push back down lower towards 91.2, 90,400. But just overall, your entry was not a good entry to go short. You went short right around this Asia low reclaim, which was actually not a good entry. So can you still be saved if your leverage is very low and pulling us back down? Yes, but at this point, I'm going to assume your leverage is high, and that most likely you're risking a lot of money. If this thing keeps pumping up higher, you're probably going to get liquidated or lose a lot. So if I were in that position, I would just take the loss and look for a short position. If we do pump higher, then look for a short position to run it back down lower. What if he told you to hold and Bitcoin pump? You blame him instead of your own conviction. Yeah, 100%. That is definitely a possibility. That's what I'm saying. What I would do is I would just stomach the loss. I took a bad trade, got a bad entry, didn't use proper risk management, didn't use a tight enough stop loss, and I'm just gonna take the loss. And if it does pump higher, right, look for another short entry on the way down if we get it. Now, if we pull back and you get, if we start pulling back, I would be looking for a short opportunity. If we start dropping below the London low and we get confirmation of being under the London low, then I would be looking for a short down to 90,400. Let's see here. What about XRP? Your thoughts? I already covered XRP. Thank you for the SpongeBob emoji. I appreciate it. Appreciate all of you guys smashing those likes. Alex, what's going on? Says, hello from London Crusader. Good to see you, brother. I think it's finally time you admit you love XRP and your sentiment was a lie all along. My sentiment is not a lie, guys. I honestly do hate XRP. Appreciate all the knowledge. Keep teaching. Keep balling. How are we feeling about the FMLC? Where can you see Biddy in both cases? Yeah, so best case scenario, we did sweep the London low and we could push it up to as high as the London high of 93,200. Which is very, very good. But we do have this weekly open up here. This yearly open up here at 93.3. So I do expect resistance around this area. In the more macro time span, right, we did sweep the previous week high yesterday, which is overall very, very negative. A big reversal to the downside. We are creating lower highs. So unless we can invalidate and get above the previous week high of 94,200, we are most likely going to continue pushing lower. Even if we push all the way up to the London high, I would probably be looking for a short around that point to push us back down, because this is not bueno. Sweeping this previous week high is not good. So unless we can get above that, we are most likely heading lower this week. What's going on, Kevin? What price action from the past month? Jessica, are we going up or down when they cut interest rates? I mean, if they cut 50 basis points and Jerome Powell comes out being very dovish, then I expect a push to the upside. But the likelihood of that happening is extremely small. Extremely small. So I don't expect that to be a thing at all. If we look at predictive markets, actually, let's see here. Let's look at poly market odds for Fed rate cut. Let's see here. Yeah, 97% chance that we get a 25% basis points, which is what is most likely going to happen. 3% chance of no change. So you have a bigger chance. You have a bigger chance of no change, of no interest rate cut at all, than getting a 50% basis points cut. So, yeah, very good likelihood that we're going to be getting a 25 basis points, which is not going to be enough to really send Bitcoin flying, right? Especially since Jerome Powell is going to come out and speak, talking very hawkish, saying that yes, you know, the economy is still whatever, and you know we're still going to be monitoring and data by data. And at this point, we know that he's 1 foot in, 1 foot out. He's on the way out. His replacement is coming in. So no big changes to the market is going to be happening until he gets out and we get a new Fed chair in there running and having some steeper interest rate cuts that are going to be 50 basis points and 50 basis points at least. That is going to get the ball rolling. That is going to get the money printer printing and is going to be pushing Bitcoin higher. I think Crusader is top analyst. I greatly appreciate those kind of words. I am not the top analyst. There are some big people that I've learned from, bigger mentors that I look up to that are way better than me. But thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Do you hold any altcoins? Also, do you just trade? No. So I have two portfolios, guys. I have my long-term hold portfolio. I hold Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoins just like everybody else. And then I have my trading portfolio. My trading portfolio is so I can actively extract capital from the market, right? Extracting capital from the market every single day as a full-time day trader allows me, even if you're not full-time, people in the Crypto Citadel are still doing this. All these gains that they're making from their trades, right? At the end of the month, they're in stablecoin and they can cash flow into your long-term portfolio so that when these altcoins are at some really big discounted prices or a new project comes out or whatever it is, you have cash to invest and continue to grow. Maybe you want to buy more Bitcoin, maybe you want to buy more Ethereum, right? Maybe you're trying to get to that one full Bitcoin. That is how you cash flow in crypto, right? People talk about cash flow in real estate all the time. Cash flowing in crypto is simple. You have your long-term hold portfolio, which are your high conviction plays, right? Depending on your risk tolerance. And then you have your trading portfolio where you make cash flow and you feed your long-term portfolio. So yes, I do hold alts. Now, altcoins are a very small percentage in my long-term portfolio. My long-term portfolio is over 50% Bitcoin and the other 25%. So like 75% of it is probably Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then we have 25% to play with in alts, right? And then different altcoins play different scenarios, right? Like larger market caps hold a larger percent of that 25%. And then the smaller market caps have smaller percents. So when altcoins melt and go to zero, if they do, and I don't sell any, I'm okay with that because it's such a small percent of my portfolio. I did take some profits in October, right? When we had that major liquidation and then we started to move back up and had a recovery, right? Things are very uncertain on whether we're going to have a major rally in 2026 or not. There are some scenarios that we're playing out and we're studying in the Crypto Citadel for a big move to the upside, but certain key things need to happen. And if we don't see those things happen, we will most likely drop lower into 2026. So I took some profits just to take some profits off the table, right? Off a little bit of Ethereum, a little bit of Bitcoin, very small amount of Bitcoin. And, that gets me paid for the rest of the year. That gets me all my bills paid and, pays off any debt that I have. Appreciate that. Crusader is top king analyst. One day I'll join the community. You can join the community right now. The community right now is free to join. I'm doing a trading boot camp on Sunday at 11 p.m. Eastern time. This Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, right? We'll be doing a trading boot camp to teach you basics so you can start charting and finding resistance, finding support, and market trends so you know where the market is going, so you can better understand, right? Dollar cost averaging, appropriate resistance. Don't be falling into FOMO. Don't be falling into fear with these indicators, which are all free to use on TradingView. So make sure you guys are joining that. And if you guys like what you see, you guys like what you learn in that boot camp, you can stay, get full access to my trading course, which I'm expanding here now. Before Christmas, I am releasing a second batch of videos. I already have an hour-long trading course. I'm going to be doing potentially another hour of trading course material that is going to be released before Christmas. So you're going to be able to get access to that, get access to my trading community, my trade signals, my long-term macro analysis, my trade setups, everything on the daily and the long term that we study in the Crypto Citadel. So you guys can do that. If you want to become a full-time member of the Discord, you can after the boot camp. But the boot camp right now is free, and it gets you access to the Citadel, which lets you experiment and see what it is that we're actually doing, right? It gets you a little peek behind the curtain to actually look inside behind the paywall and see what is actually happening back here. Is it all fugazi, or, all fugazi, all smoke, or is it real what we're doing back there, right? And just yesterday, you guys can see we took a nice short, right, up here, and we printed over 57% trade. That was a 50% trade, right? Dropping from the previous week high down to 92,300. And that was a great, great trade. Made over $400 in that one trade, which, pays off the trading group for multiple months if you were to take a trade like that. And there was nothing high. I'm not trading with any high level of margin. I was trading with $1,000. 25x, nothing crazy. I'm not trading with $10,000, right, at 60, 90x leverage or anything like that. None of those crazy degen plays. You also get access to the indicators. So if you understand the value that I am giving you here right now, right, the group pays for itself. Appreciate everybody in here smashing those likes. Good to see you, Eddie Parker, in the house. Eddie Parker says, we print, peeps. Let's go, man. Yeah, this long from this morning is also printing, right? The long from the London low to the upside. Also a very nice print this morning as well. How do you feel about Bitcoin hodling 85K for 4 weeks? Very possible that we range sideways, especially the longer we stay below the yearly open, right, of 2025 of 93,000. The chances of ranging below the 90s and into the 80s is very likely. For example, we crashed in the future and Bitcoin dropped 80%, others 90. What is the plan? Just hodl, stable, staking, or re-entry for Bitcoin for long cycle? So look, guys, I'll tell you. So to answer that question, I got into Bitcoin back in 2018, right? My first Bitcoin purchase was in February of 2018 when it was around $10,000, when it dropped 50% from its all-time highs of 20,000. And then it rallied, right? It spent 2 years in the dumps, right? Came all the way down to 3K by 2021, right? During the great crash of 2021, or actually the great crash of 2020, of 2020. Then in 2021, rallied all the way to $69,000, dropped back down into the bear market of 2022, dropped all the way down to 15,000. And even though it came down to 15,000, right, I held it. I held my Bitcoin, and it never came down to below my entry point, my initial entry point. Now we've rallied all the way up above 120, all the way up to 126,000. And if we drop 50, 60% and we drop down into the 40s, right, I will still be up in profit. Now, if you're thinking, well, Crusader, if I bought at 80,000 or 90,000 and it drops down to 40, right, I'm not going to be in profit. Absolutely. I wasn't in profit my first cycle either. My first cycle, I bought at 10K. It dropped all the way down to 3K over the next 3 years. And then on my fourth, fifth year is when I started to see these massive gains. Now I'm almost in my 10th year in crypto, right? I'm coming into my, almost into my ninth year in crypto. I'm seeing these major gains from Bitcoin itself. So yes, $80,000, $90,000 Bitcoin is expensive right now. And I'm not telling you to buy, but I'm just saying if you were to buy today and this dumps another 30, 40, 50%, and you continue to dollar cost average 5 to 10 years from now, just like I did 5 to 10 years later, people are going to be looking at 90,000 saying, man, I wish I bought below 100K when Bitcoin is sitting well above 200 at that point in time, right? So it's all about perspective and about time in the market. So in my long-term hold, in my spot bag portfolio, I am a long-term holder. I am not panic selling because we dropped, right? Because we dropped down 50%, 30%. Like that doesn't bother me. And if you can't stomach that, then that means if it does bother you, it's either you're very new to investing, you don't understand the fundamentals of being a long-term investor, and it also means that you're most likely using too much money or money that you actually don't have, right? It's money that you need for your bills. It's money that you need to pay for your house, pay for your car, buy groceries, whatever it is. You're over leveraging yourself. You're using money that you actually don't have, right? You're using credit cards, you're using loans, stuff like that, which is not wise if you don't have the capital to be paying those loans off on your own 9-to-5 job. So that is why you can't stomach that. Now, as an investor, you need to understand that every single dollar you're putting into the market, that dollar is gone. Imagine that you just set that dollar on fire and it's gone. You're never going to get it back, right? That's the way you got to think of it. If you can't think of money like that, then you're not ready to invest. You don't have enough income to actually be an investor, right? And if you have an income problem, and if you have a high income and you still have a problem, it's probably because you have high expenses. So you have to reduce your expenses to be able to have enough margin between your income and your expenses to have money left over at the end of the month after you've saved money for your rainy day fund, you've paid all your bills, all this stuff, everything is taken care of. You actually have savings that then you can use to invest. And that's definitely one thing that we like to talk a lot about in the Crypto Citadel that we haven't talked about in a while, but it is definitely very critical to understand your own personal finances and where you are so you can understand what type of investor you can be and so that you can be a better investor overall. What are your thoughts with the chatter on Solana and XRP? So XRP is trying to partner up with a lot of different projects. Solana is building a lot of cool, neat stuff, right? They're getting into the tokenized stocks, which really helps drive more traffic onto their blockchain and stepping away from the meme coin stuff, which is fantastic, which is what we want to be seeing for Solana. So I'm very bullish on Solana in the long term. If Solana can dip down below $100, I'd be a huge buyer of Solana. I bought the majority of my Solana at $20. I have not covered Night yet. No, I have not. There's not a lot of actual analysis that I can do on Night since it just launched, right? It's up 54.9% today. It was down 50-something percent yesterday. So overall, I am waiting for these high price fluctuations for Night to become more stable, right? A lot of airdrops have happened. I'm not familiar if there's more airdrops coming out or just more token unlocks overall. If they do happen, those token unlocks are definitely going to drive a lot more selling pressure, right? Because as these token unlocks come out, people are getting free money from these airdrops. They're going to be dumping Midnight. So I'm waiting for price to stable out. I'm very bullish on what the technology behind Midnight is. I'm obviously bullish on Cardano. This is going to be a great driver of utility for Cardano, hopefully. So overall, very bullish on it. But obviously, we're going to have to wait a few months, at least a month, to get a month worth of data on Midnight to start doing some technical analysis on it. Sir, what price of Bitcoin you shorted? most favorite price points in this stage. So right now, right, for Bitcoin, we have the FOMC meeting coming up. So right now I'm not entering any trade. We in the Crypto Citadel, we traded here the London low. We took a long from here. We're nice and up in profits. We already hit TP1. TP1 was this region around 92,300. TP2 is going to be around 93.7, and then TP3 would be 93.2 for Bitcoin. Now, FOMC meeting decision is coming up here. It's 1:14 p.m. It's going to be announced around 2 o'clock. I might stay live and just roll right through all of it. If we get a price spike all the way up to this London high and sweep this London high, I would love to short that. I would love to take a short there at 93,254 if we sweep that London high based off the news. But overall, we might not get such a big move to the upside. We've been getting a lot of selling pressure here, a lot of pressure overall. See a lot of wicks to the upside above 92,372, getting a lot of wicks, meaning there's a lot of selling pressure there. So unless we can have a big breakout, we are, like I said, overall in a bearish trend for Bitcoin because we swept the previous week high yesterday. We swept it yesterday right here. Had a major reversal. We shorted that in the Crypto Citadel, brought it down to 92.3, closed our short. Now we've made another lower high during the, gosh, these allergies, man. We got a lower high here during the London trading session at 93,200. And now we're currently setting in another lower high around 92.5. So if we begin to lose this because of resistance and we lose the support at the London low of 91.7, our big targets to the downside are 91.2 to 90,400 for the day based off the FOMC meeting, right? Based off the fact that we swept the previous week high, that is major selling pressure. And the only way that we can invalidate that selling pressure is if we get back above the previous week high, which is 94,200. So unless something mega bullish happens and we push above 94.2, we are most likely continuing to head lower. Let's keep rocking and rolling here. I bought a $9. I won't sell it till it passes 1K. What did you buy at $9, Rod? Caspa. So Caspa is a very interesting project, very bullish back in 2023, right? Lots of people were very bullish on it. I was bullish on it myself. I thought there were some big things that could happen, but Caspa mining ruined Caspa. That's the reality. The reality is that Caspa mining ruined Caspa's price action. So Caspa, if you guys didn't know, had a very, very quick production rate of Caspa coins. And in 2023, 2022, it was very, very bullish to mine it, right? Even in 2024 until around May of 2024, that's when the profits started to drop heavily. So all the way up until May 2024, Caspa as a mining operation was extremely profitable. I know people that ran Caspa miners and were making thousands and thousands of dollars easy every single month, right, off Caspa, producing a boatload of Caspa. But what happened in May of 2024? Caspa mining, Marathon got into Caspa mining. They launched a mega operation worth millions and millions of dollars. And what does that mean? That means that they brought on a boatload of Caspa miners, meaning they sucked up the majority of the liquidity. And Caspa did not have a slow halving event like Bitcoin did. It had a very quick one. So it released the grand majority, over 90% of its tokens, in a very small amount of time when it was the most profitable time to create Caspa, meaning this major corporation was able to hoard all this Caspa and use it as selling pressure onto the market. And that's why Caspa could not break above 20 cents all of 2023 and into 2024. And then comes 2025, even though Bitcoin and altcoins some altcoins have hit all-time highs. Caspa has done nothing but melt to the downside. We're currently entering. We've gone as low as 3 cents, and those are pretty much like the lows of 2023. 4 cents, right? Then 2023 September was 3 cents. So we're pretty much melting all through support, and Caspa has never been profitable. Their smart contracts have barely taken off. There's barely anyone using the Caspa network, right? They tried to launch a little bit of smart tokens, meme coin stuff on Caspa, got a nice little boost for like a week, and then it, died out again. So unfortunately for that reason, Caspa is very bearish, but it's one of these things. It's so low now that it's either going to have a recovery and become something big in the next 2 years, right? Where they can, fix up their tokenomics, do some type of burn rate, get smart contracts to actually start working on Caspa and get people to start building on Caspa. Because if they don't, this thing's going to zero. So it's one of those things. It's make it or break it. It's either we're going to zero or we're going to have a nice recovery. Appreciate everybody in here smashing those likes. Confused by the green as well with the tactical vest. Guys, you got to use protection when trading these markets. If you're not using protection, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt. So this is just a reminder for everybody to use a stop loss, to use protection. You wouldn't want to go into a battle and not use protection, not use armor, right? Don't go into trading and not use your stop losses, not use proper risk management to be able to trade. Because if you don't, you're going to get wrecked. You're going to get wrecked, right? And not everybody's going to get to respawn. Not everyone's going to get to respawn because, simple as that, some people are going to blow up their accounts and they're never going to have enough money to trade again. What is happening with NEAR? We'll cover NEAR here. ADA, Solana, Link. Let's cover some of those. Army Piper in the house. What's going on, brother? Says use protection, bro. 100%. Always got to use protection. Always got to use protection. So let's take a quick look here at NEAR. Bitcoin having a nice little drop of Ruski. Oops, wrong NEAR chart. Was just looking at NEAR yesterday. NEAR is pretty much near its bottom, right? So the lows for 2023 was around $1. We're currently at $1.77. So we're entering that, make it or break it stage here. So if we get a range, a trend for 2025 so far, nice steep downtrend overall. We are developing the yearly NPOC above us, which is good. The yearly VWAP and quarterly VWAP will be resetting at the end of this month, which is good. It takes away a little bit of selling pressure. Overall resistance from the upside, but NEAR needs to get above about $1.12. Remember, this is a developing range. It still has one more month of data, but I don't expect it to move too drastically. Around $2.12, we need to get back above. It's going to be hitting our first main target here of 223. Above that, we have the developing yearly NPOC around 245. And then obviously we have to break out of the 2025 value area high of $3 to be able to break this downtrend and break the previous year range to start running for $3.66 to $4 and higher. If that doesn't happen, we are going to continue ranging in 2025's range and dropping lower overall. Next big major target to the downside would be about $1. If we get rejected off this 223 and continue heading lower with Bitcoin potentially dropping lower, $1 would be the next big target for NEAR. Now going on over to ADA, good old Cardano. Nothing but down for this baby. Nothing but down. So overall here, Cardano, we have a 2-month NPOC up at 64 cents. It could be our next big target to the upside if we can start, breaking this downtrend, start actually climbing back into the October range. We have a target up here around 64 cents. But outside of that, right, developing range. Outside of that, the only other bullish thing that we have is the developing range for Cardano, we also have a developing NPOC up at 72 cents. That would be our next big target beyond 64 would be 72 for Cardano to the upside. But, you know, it's either that or we're going down to 27, which is the liquidation bottom here from the October liquidation event. So we shall see. Now let's go take a look at Solana. Good old Solana. Solana. Nope. Wrong Solana chart. Where is my Solana chart? Boom. All right. So we do have some big targets here for Solana. Obviously, we're ranging here in the month of November. We're currently walking into, we have a target at 147. We're just ranging sideways here on the monthly point of control of 136. If we lose November's range and we start falling below 122, targets are between 119 to 102. Below that, we have a target of $73 to $65 for Solana. But assuming Bitcoin can hold its price, continue pushing up higher and moving up higher, right? If Solana can get above its November range of 155, its big targets after this quarterly and yearly VWAP reset around 174 are big targets around 190 to 193 in the short term before potentially running into some larger time frame targets. Rest in peace to those that bought ADA in 2021 highs when a full bull run sitting with a 200% move needed to just break even. I 100% agree, man. 100% agree. Anybody that bought ADA at $3 in 2021 is wrecked. Is absolutely wrecked. They have not even gotten close to break even. So, yeah, all their hopes and dreams are riding on this midnight thing now. They should be getting a very large airdrop on this thing, and all their hopes and dreams are going to be running on that. I'm still bullish on Cardano, but man, it's going to take a long time for that thing to get above $3. Bitcoin here having a nice little rejection off its resistance zone here off this anchored VWAP, dropping below again, starting to fall back into the Asia low, holding up as support right now. We're getting a little bit of volatility as you're seeing as we're getting closer to that 2 o'clock price point, where 2 o'clock time frame, where the FOMC decision is going to be made publicly here in about the next 30 minutes or so. If you have another government shutdown in January, would that cause crypto to dump? Well, realistically, Bitcoin pumped throughout the entire government shutdown. So during the government shutdown, we had some pretty significant rallies for Bitcoin. It wasn't until the government started to turn back on that Bitcoin started dumping again. 2021 was selling time. If you bought, you was FOMO. Yeah, 100% Rod. If you're buying at the top of 2021, you were FOMOing. And how do you FOMO? Well, it's because just how I did, right? When I first bought Ethereum back in October of 2017, I bought Ethereum for the very first time ever at $290. That was a very local high price point for Ethereum at that point in time. Did I know we were getting near the top for Bitcoin and crypto? No, I didn't know anything about investing. I didn't know anything as an investor. I already had known about Bitcoin, had read the Bitcoin standard, right? I started to learn about smart contracts and what Ethereum was as a platform, not just a token, and what it could do. But the problem was I didn't know how to read charts. I didn't know where resistance and support was. I didn't know anything about market structure. I didn't know anything about that. So I bought Ethereum. I FOMO'd into Ethereum, right? I FOMO'd at 290 saying, well, this thing's only going to go higher. It's been pumping all year long. It's going to continue pumping, right? And it did. It pumped to $1,400 from my entry of 290. I felt like the greatest investor in the world. I just bought something at a high price and it went even higher. I must know something that other people don't. That makes me smart, right? What I didn't know was how to read when $1,400 was the top for Ethereum. So that led me to ride Ethereum all the way back down to $80 throughout 2018 and 2019, right? All the way through 2020 as well. So reading charts is hypercritical to not be caught buying FOMO, buying tops. And every single cycle, there will be people that learn this lesson. And if you're now willing to learn technical analysis or join a community that provides technical analysis for you and, join it, bare minimum, watch a live stream looking at some technical analysis, bare minimum, which is not great because you don't know if the guy that's giving it to you is full of BS or not, but bare minimum, that will give you some kind of idea. And if the guy is pushing lots of FOMO, lots of big price predictions to the future, big price movements to the upside, most likely that's a red flag. Most likely they're full of BS, right? Especially when certain key factors happen. But outside of that, start reading charts, start charting on these altcoins and Bitcoin, and understand if you know where Bitcoin's going, altcoins will follow. So if you can start doing that, you will avoid buying FOMO and buying the tops, right? I wasn't buying $126,000 Bitcoin, not because it was the all-time high, but because that just didn't make any sense. Besides the fact that it was an all-time high, just chart-wise, could we pushed up higher? Yes. Was I looking for about 130, 135 before pulling back? Yes. Did we get there? No. We got some resistance. We swept a previous week high, just like we did yesterday. We swept a previous week high on the 4-hour time frame, and that led to signaling the top to pulling us back down. People FOMO'd in 2021 because tools on YouTube kept selling 100K Bitcoin hopium. 100% Army Piper, 100%. It's just, oh my gosh, what the heck was that? 100%, man. You know, watching YouTube content anywhere, TikTok, Instagram, IG, being on Twitter, scrolling, reading what other people are doing, all these influencers, without knowing what you know about the charts, without looking at charts yourself, without looking at data, you're always going to get caught up in FOMO, because the only things that get the most levels of engagement is hopium or extreme fear. Either somebody is telling you the absolute market crash is coming tomorrow, or we're going to all-time highs. If you look at all the overall arching themes of headlines in any major YouTube video or post or TikTok video of anything, it's one of those two. It's either we're going to hit some crazy all-time highs on some altcoin or Bitcoin, or your altcoin or Bitcoin is going to crash down. That is what gets the most level of engagement. So unfortunately, that's what influencers are going to continue feeding you, because that's what's going to get them their views, their likes, their subscriber account growth, and all that jazz to continue to grow, right? They tell you what you want to hear. They don't tell you what you need to hear, right? And that's the difference between creators that do real technical analysis and people that are just FOMOing and selling you FOMO, hopium, and all this stuff on crypto. What's going on, Scott? Army says, I sold all my alt in January of 2025. Nice. And all my Bitcoin at 126. Very nice. Very, very nice. Is this pre-recorded? Everything? No, man, it's not pre-recorded. This is just a green screen behind me that you're seeing on TikTok. Yes, it's an old screen. It's not, everything is not green right now, but it's not a pre-recorded video, dude. The idea that we're going to drop to 74K or lower breaks my heart, and yes, I am emotional. That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly normal, right? It is what it is. It's part of the game, and it is going to be a tough lesson to learn that, hey, you can't FOMO into the market. But the good thing about Bitcoin is anyone that holds for more than 4 years in Bitcoin eventually hits a profit level. Eventually, Bitcoin continues to get higher and higher adoption rate, more demand, and its supply remaining the same or lower continues to push price up, right? Supply and demand basics 101. So even if you bought here at 90,000 and we do drop down to 70,000 or lower, the biggest mistake you can make is not the fact that you bought on 90 and it dropped down to 60. The biggest mistake would be not dollar cost averaging, right? If you're committing your money to invest into Bitcoin to be a long-term holder, you must dollar cost average. But that does not mean to buy every single dip, because buying every single dip will continue dipping. The dip dips, and then the dip of that dip dips, and then the more dips, and eventually you will quickly run out of cash before you can buy all the dips, which is why, once again, we circle back to charting. And if you have Long-term analysis, looking at large macro time frames, monthlies, quarterlies, yearlies, and you're looking at ranges, you're looking at targets, you will understand when it is a more proper time to dollar cost average. And yes, you can buy at 74,000. That's a big target area. Can it drop lower? Yes. But you all understand 70 is worth putting some risk on. If we drop down into the 50s, that's worth to put some more risk on at that point. It doesn't mean I'm going to be buying at 70, then at 69, then at 68, then at 67 every single day. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to run out of cash before the bottom comes in. Sitting on 90% dry powder and restarted Bitcoin weekly DCA as soon as I sold. Nice, Army. Very, very nice. Have more chips for all the dips. That's right, man. Gotta buy a lot of chips for the dips. Are we going to be green after the FOMC? We could be, guys, but we need to be very careful. The previous week high swept yesterday, right, at 94,200 is very, very bearish for Bitcoin in the larger daily time frame. So unless we can get above 94.2 this week, I wouldn't be very bullish for the rest of this week, right? We could pump now with the FOMC meeting coming up. We could pump up to the London high, 93,200. I would probably be looking for a potential short around that area to maybe bring it back down. It also lines up with the value area high of the previous day range. We still have the daily MPOC and gold pocket down below us. So not saying that that is the trade to take. There's going to be other key factors on what happens when we get to that level. But overall, right now, we have made multiple lower highs, right? We have the high from yesterday at the previous week high. We have the high from the London trading session at 93.2. And now we're currently trying to break our local high here from the New York session around 92.4. If we can break above this area, we could be running it up, but we still have this other lower high around 92.9 to 93,000 that we need to break to continue pushing up higher. There's just a lot of things up here, right? We have the London high. We have the yearly open, which has been very strong resistance. The few times that we've lived above it, we dropped back down. So yesterday, we broke above it, lived above it for a few hours, and then dropped back down. Then last week, first week of December, we briefly got above it. As you guys can see here, we briefly got above it, and then we fell back down again, all the way back down to 89,000, give or take. So we have not been able to stay above the yearly open for Bitcoin for any significant amount of time to get any large weekly or monthly closures up there. So very, very difficult to stay bullish unless we can start closing above there. Bitcoin right now making a very strong push towards 92,700, running for this Asia high and previous day anchored VWAP. Got to be very careful here with a sweep of this high. But the fact that we swept the London low could take us all the way as high as to this London high, which is why this London high is significant for me to potentially take a short on. Let's dump Biddy. I wish I had the market possibility to move markets like that, but I don't. Oversold. Yeah, I mean, we definitely had some decent overall push to the downside. Open interest is climbing in right now as we're starting to push up. Nothing massive, but a nice little open interest climb. We're starting to enter overbought territory here on the 15-minute. On the 1 hour, we still got time to run. 4 hour, we still have time to run. Not too much, actually, but we do have some time to run on the 4 hour. The 4 hour candle is coming into a close here in the next 1 hour and 22 minutes, which is giving us a nice little, bullish bottom sweep here of the lows to push us up higher. But we'll see. FOMC meeting days are very volatile, lots of movements to the upside, and then quick movements to the downside, which are make it very, very risky to trade overall. So definitely not a great day to be trading unless you have experience trading FOMC meetings, because price can whiplash very drastically, very, very fast. Bitcoin pushing up here. Let's see, has there been any major announcement on Come on. Any FMLC meeting announcement? Not yet. Let's see here. If you guys haven't joined the Crypto Citadel, my private trading community, you can join for free right now. We're doing a free trading webinar on Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. 11 a.m. Eastern. We're doing a free webinar. You can join the Crypto Citadel. It's going to be hosted inside my Discord. You guys get to have a peek behind the curtain and see all the trade signals, all the trades, all the chart analysis, all the daily live streams that we do in there. And if you like it, you can become a full-time member and and stay. So make sure you guys are joining to learn how to start charting some of these assets here this Sunday. That's absolutely free. You can join the link with the link in my profile. It takes you to the link tree right here. Boom. RSVP as soon as you can. There are limited spots. We got 14 people already signed up for the free webinar. Make sure you guys are joining in before all the spots are taken. I'm thinking about it. John. Oh, almost knocked something down. I might. Bitcoin pulling back here. 1 hour. Could be sweeping this Asia high here, which is not going to be good. This is the price volatility that I'm talking about on FOMC meetings. Big move up, quick move back down. 5 minute completely engulfing here. This other candle, this other bullish candle here on the 5 minute, very bearish engulfing candle here. 15 minute, not looking good at all. Major resistance here, pushing us back down. Not bueno at all. Woo! Look at this thing dropping like it's hot. Dropping it like it's hot. Very risky taking trades right now. Very risky. A lot of whiplash coming in. If we hit this London high, I would be very interested in taking a short off this London high. I thought we were going to hit it there for a second. I was getting kind of ready to position myself to start taking a short, but started dropping before then. Got to be very patient here on entries because FOMC meeting day. It's not a regular trading day, guys. This is going to be whipping back and forth. And then we have Jerome Powell speaking, right? They make the announcement first of what the Fed rate cut's actually going to be. Market reacts a little bit to it. Then Jerome Powell comes out speaking. Markets react even more to what Jerome Powell is saying. So a lot of whiplash here in the next hour. Let's see here. Let's see what the chat is saying. Appreciate everybody smashing those likes. When the Fed announces a drop of rate, do the altcoins typically rally up? No, guys. The altcoins rally when Bitcoin does three things. Bitcoin's price pumps, right? That drags altcoins up. Bitcoin dominance starts dropping as Bitcoin is ranging, especially for an altcoin season. If you're talking about an altcoin season, you need Bitcoin to be at all-time highs or very near all-time highs in a rally to the upside, and then chopping sideways around that price point to hold that all-time high. With Bitcoin dominance dropping, boom, you get major altcoin rallies. Right now, best case scenario, we get major move of Bitcoin price to the upside. If Bitcoin price pumps, it drags some of these altcoins up with it. Not all, but some, right? If we look here on the last hour, Bitcoin's been having a little bit of a rally and altcoins are up 1%, right? They're up 1%, just kind of living off the curiosity of, is Bitcoin going to make a big move or not? Just like Bitcoin had a massive rally yesterday, right? Boom, from 90,000 all the way to 94. And guess what? Ethereum did the same thing. Ethereum followed suit and had a major rally. If we look here on the 15-minute, look at this. Same massive rally to the upside, meaning Bitcoin dragged Ethereum up and above, up and beyond, I should say. Any interest rate cut announcement yet? 145. Probably not yet. Oh, just in, Bitcoin hits 93,000 as Fed prepares to go. Fake news. As they prepare to cut, but they haven't even announced it yet. Let's see here. Just in, 20 minutes ago, Federal announces its interest rate cut decision. Where the heck is it? Why would you make a headline about it and not say what it is? Still no announcement. Bitcoin's price doing the choppy chop. Going up, going down, going up, going down. I'm not interested in trading this choppy chop, so let's keep reading the chat here while we wait for Bitcoin to do something. Make sure you guys are tapping those likes, guys. Here we go. Bitcoin's trying to push it back above that Asia high of 92,700. Trying to push it back up. Still no announcement of the Fed rate decision. But like I said, Poly Market has a grand 97% chance that we get an interest rate cut of 25 basis points. 3% chance of no change before you have more chance of no change than of a 50% basis points, right? So pretty much baking in here that we're going to get 25% basis points, and then all the market volatility is going to come in based on what Jerome Powell says, which is going to be like, good afternoon, everyone. And, then he's going to give his boring spiel. So that's why I'm not even interested in taking any trades until we either sweep this London high or lose this London low. Everything else is just chop, chop. Chop, chop, chop. Chop, chop, chop. We already traded this long. We already took the long from here, hit TP1 and TP2. So not looking for any more trades until we either sweep this high or lose this low. Let's see here. Still waiting for the announcement for the Jerome Powell speech. Co-pilot told me rates have been reduced 25 basis points. Interesante. I mean, yeah, it's pretty much baked in. That's what we're gonna get. Jerome Powell's not gonna cut more. He's gonna give the same speech about how they're still looking at the labor market and this and that, and when things are appropriate, they will do whatever appropriately. Yada yada yada. I'm not gonna actually watch the meeting. I'm just gonna watch the price action. That's all that really matters, anyways. Weakening labor, yeah, that's definitely the reason. Because AI is going to take over everything, bro. AI is going to take over everything, and we're going to go into a Great Depression 2.0. Okay, someone gives you 100,000 to buy any spot of your choice. You cannot trade it. You must hold it for a year before selling it. Selling it all. What do you buy other than Bitcoin and Ethereum? Oh, good question. Because if you would have just said besides Bitcoin, I would have told you Ethereum. Easy. I would have just been buying Ethereum with that 100K. Now, do I have the choice of picking multiple, or I can only pick one? Am I only allowed to buy one altcoin, or I can, diversify that? Because if I only could pick one only, I would have probably picked Solana. Now, if I can diversify, I would split it up between Solana, a little bit of AVAX, some SUI. What else we got? Aerodrome, Ondo, Pando, Lido, Chainlink. Putting some Chainlink in there, stuff like that. A lot of selling pressure coming in again. Tell him ADA, not XRP, for only one alt. Not Sol, maybe Sui. Sui's good, but Sui definitely still has a long way to go, right? Solana's way more established than Sui is. So for that reason, if I only had to pick one with 100K to hold for more than a year, right, I would probably pick Solana just because it has a bigger establishment of it can actually survive longer periods of time. ADA's good. I mean, I like ADA. ADA's down at 46 cents. Would I put 100K into ADA and hold it for a whole year? Don't have too much confidence that it's going to make a great push. I mean, it could definitely push to $1 and double up. But, Cardano definitely needs to step it up if it wants to be a serious contender in the crypto space in the next 2 to 3 years. If not, it could be a wrap for Cardano. What do you think of Polkadot? Is it worth investing in? Polkadot has the same problems. Actually has bigger problems. Polkadot had the relay chain, and they were doing this whole different setup, and then that all fell apart. And now they set up a whole different system on how to get developers on there. Long story short is they have not been able to adopt development to get developers on their chain to build anything. So no use for Polkadot, no reason for Polkadot's price to go up. So unless Polkadot gets adopted into some of these like ETFs or altcoin reserve, whatever, if that ever does happen, Polkadot is pretty much cooked. Now, is it going to have little rallies here and there? Absolutely. It's always going to have little rallies. Everything has little rallies, especially when Bitcoin has big rallies. But that doesn't mean that Polkadot's a great project or anything. It's more on the side of becoming a ghost chain, just existing a ghost blockchain. What's going on with XLM? I don't know. Is it doing anything with MoneyGram yet and taking over the Swift system along with XRP? I don't think so. Why? Because XRP sucks and nobody actually wants to use it. But nobody in the XRP in the community wants to believe that. Let me update this chart because this chart is outdated as heck. Okay. Let me get the previous 2-month range. Okay, we're sitting right at the value area low of the previous 2-month range. We have an NPOC up at 32 cents for XLM. We've already hit all these targets. Hit this. Let me get rid of this. Get rid of this. If we can break above 33 cents and run for the previous quarter range of 38 cents, we do have a target up at 46 cents in untapped quarterly MPLC. But overall, XLM has lost its multi-quarter uptrend, and now in October, November, we are in a downtrend, and we need to hold support here around 24, 25 cents. If not, XLM is in trouble. Look at all this whiplash, baby. Breaking necks left and right, up, down, sideways. This is why you don't trade FMOC day. Any announcement yet? It is 154 now. It is 154. Uh-oh, U.S. seizes oil tanker near Venezuelan coast. Uh-oh. Gonna hit that from my archives. Make that a video about that later. That's why you got to wear protection, my friends. Things are getting spicy out there. Things are getting spicy. What the heck is that? Okay, still nothing. If you had 3 Bitcoin tomorrow, what's your first move? Ooh, that's a good question. If I had 3 Bitcoin tomorrow, let's just do some quick mathy math here. Let's pull out the calculator. Where are we? 3 Bitcoin, let's roughly, 90,000. Let's just round down to 90 times 3. That's $270K. Dollars. So, question becomes, do we hold it? Do we hold those 3 Bitcoin? That would be the smart thing to do. The smart and low risk thing to do would be to hold that Bitcoin. Even if it drops lower, you got it for free, right? You got it for free. There's no actual entry cost to getting it. It didn't cost you any money. It's free money, right? Now you can play a little bit of risk here and you can sell it. Sell at 90K and wait for a pullback, maybe down to the 60s. If you do, and then you reaccumulate, right? So imagine you sold all 3 at 90, you have $270,000. Now you divide that by, let's say, down to 60,000, right? That gets you 4.5 Bitcoin. You can actually up your Bitcoin game by 1.5 full Bitcoin, which then means that if Bitcoin goes back towards its all-time high of 126, you will have $567,000, right? Instead of, get another calculator here. You'll have 567 over $500,000 instead of, let's do 126 times 3 of $378,000, right? Big difference here. This is the 3 Bitcoin. This is the 4.5 Bitcoin. Big difference. Big difference. So sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuits. What would you do? I want to hear from you guys. If you got 3 Bitcoins right now, would you sell your 3 Bitcoin at 90K and hope and wait for a drop down into the 60s and buy in? Full support, right? There's no like, oh, I'll only buy some. No, you got to spend it all. Spend it all on the Bitcoin again and buy 4.5 Bitcoin at 60K. What would you guys do? Let's go take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin whipping, breaking necks, up, down, left, sideways. Once again, hitting the Asia high, coming back down, almost hitting the Asia low. Woo-wee! FMOC meeting day. Congratulations, guys. You have made it. Luxury Cigar. Good to see you, brother. Says, absolutely not. Holding for the long term. That's also the low risk, smart play. Don't risk it because you might not get that drop. And just let the 3 Bitcoin ride. Somebody said sell, then buy. Somebody who's willing to take the risk for the biscuits. John Frost says, any comment on ICP? Let's go take a quick look at ICP here while we wait for Bitcoin to stop whipping around. Let's go take a look at ICP. So ICP hit a lot of our targets here, something that we were talking about in the Crypto Citadel for a long time, with some targets here around $10. We actually front ran our targets of $10 to $10.50. That is where I was planning on getting out of ICP, but unfortunately we front ran that and we gave it all back up, dropping all the way back to our support here around $3.35, which freaking sucks. But we had these targets here of $7, and we had a few other targets here around $9. We just happened to front run these targets here at 10, which was my main goal to get out of. So overall, ICP remains in its same yearly range down here for 2025, below $6, right? So developing range here, November 30th. Developing MPOC is up at 496. Once we close out this year, that's going to be our next big target to the upside. We shall see. You know, ICP is struggles from the same thing, Polkadot and some of these Cardano and some of these other node development. Nothing happening on chain. Terrible marketing. Project doesn't go anywhere, and it just trades sideways and into oblivion. Bitcoin pushing back up right now at 92,800. Now dropping once again, 92.7. Where is it going next? Is it up? Is it down? It's 2 o'clock. I'm pretty sure they announced the Fed rate cut now. Come on. Where is it? Give me the news, X. Come on. Breaking. The Federal Reserve officially cuts interest rates by 25 basis points. Congratulations. We all played ourselves. We did exactly what Poly Markets was telling us. A cut by 25% was going to be the big thing. Oh my gosh, we almost hit my target up here at the London high. Hold on, I'm going to have to start grabbing my phone here, potentially start getting ready here for a short position if we can get to my target, but we didn't. We front ran that thing, and now we're dropping like it's hot. What is going on here? Gotta be patient. We might not get it. We got that front ran right there. We might not get it. New 1 hour candle just opened up. 4 hour candle whipping back and forth here. Want to see that London high sweep, man. We might not get it. We got really close to it at the FOMC meeting day. Very dangerous time to be trading. Had to grab my phone just in case it gave me the opportunity, but it is not giving us the opportunity so far. We are dropping right now. We're back down on 92,500 as we speak, and could be a wrap, guys. Could be a wrap. You see, we have multiple big wicks to the upside. Cannot get above this 92.7 and hold any 15-minute candles above there. So unless we can start closing 15-minute candles above 92.7, we're most likely going to be heading lower here. Jerome Powell does not speak for another 28 minutes, so we could be dropping lower. Man, wish we would have swept that London high. That would have been a great entry for a short. I want to short the London high, but we didn't get the London high sweep. We front ran it by a few bucks. It's up at 93,249. We hit 92,200, and now we're dropping hard already. Ooh, we're dropping fast here. 92,300 right now as we speak. So I'm going to put my phone back down. I do not have a position here on this short, as we did not actually get to my entry. We got very, very close to my entry. We front ran it by 40 bucks, and now we're dropping like it's hot, boys. We're dropping like it's hot. We're back down on 92.1 right now. We are dropping lower. We start losing the London low on 91,745, and we are going to melt it down to 90, potentially down to 89,000. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Bitcoin pushing back up here at 91.9. Sweeping this London low one last time. Trying to give people some hope. Trying to give people some hope. Let's see here. Let's see here. Bitcoin chopping it up. Biddy, not looking good on the 1 hour at all. Let's see here. Let's see here. Good afternoon and down. Yeah, I would not be surprised if we get an good afternoon and then straight down. Come on. You get bad news, it drops. You get good news, it drops. That's why you got to look at charts, man. Don't worry about the news. Look at the charts. Look at the charts. Don't worry about the bad news. Yesterday, we got all the news we needed, which was we swept this previous week high at 94.2. That is the bearish reversal signal for the week that we could be pushing up. We could be pushing down a lot further. Today, we've been chopping it up here, left, right, chopping it up, right? But overall, we are most likely going to be dropping down. If we lose this London low here, we could be dropping it down to between 91.2 to as low as 90,400 before potentially running for this previous day low of the 89,400 area. So Bitcoin right now chopping it up. This is why you don't trade the FOMC meeting. Is very high level of chop of just volatility, left, right, up, down, left, right. You don't know which way you're going. 1 minute you're pumping, 1 minute you're dumping. It's crashing. It's whoop. So just don't trade it for that reason. Look at these 5-minute candles. They're just all over the place. All right, guys. I think I'm going to be calling it a day here. We're getting a lot of chop. A lot of chop here, up, down, left, sideways. Nothing great to happen. We got the interest rate cut that everybody was expecting. I am expecting the market to drop lower after Jerome Powell speaks, but maybe he'll surprise us. Maybe he'll surprise us. So, guys, like always, join the Crypto Citadel. You can join for free right now. We're having a free trading boot camp this Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So make sure you guys are joining in there if you want to start learning how to trade. Get access to the Crypto Citadel, look behind the scenes before becoming a full-time member. The link is in the profile right here, Linktree, and then you can RSVP for the free trading group, for the free trading boot camp if you want to, if you're interested in that. Like always, guys, I'm Blockchain Crusader, Crusading these blockchains, and I'll see you in the Crypto Citadel. See ya.